Okay. There we go. This. Oh shoot, stop it. Stop it. Where'd it go? I missed it. Where'd it go? Hello.
Hey, Derek, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, let me get my earphones because, hey, hang on one second. Let me get my earphones.
Okay. I'm gonna close this door. You're good to go.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Now, do you need to see my face in order to record it, or do you just need the voice?
I'd love to see your face. You're supposed to, you got your hair did and everything, huh?
Yeah, I did. So I don't know how to do these work the Zoom really well. So let's see.
Go to the top, like tap the screen, and then the top it should say start or stop video. So it should, if the video is not playing, it'll have a slash through, and then you just push it to start video. Go
There
ahead,
we
girl.
go.
I'm about to say you're all out there and like, but you just got a really cool background.
Yeah.
I need to learn how to do that.
You want me to take it down?
No, shoot, heck no.
Okay.
So are you cool with the questions?
Yeah, I'm fine with the questions.
Okay. You're not gonna get you in trouble at work or anything, Anna?
I mean, I'm not going to talk about my job per se. I'm going to talk about my industry, my field.
Okay. Okay. And so how do you want to be addressed? Like what do you want to say your title is?
Oh, if you want to give me a title, my actual title at work is HR manager.
HR manager. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say for one of the area hospital systems.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. And are you going by Denise Clark now? Are you dropping keys?
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Definitely.
Yeah, giving that no shine. How's that going?
It's a process.
Yeah.
Process. Yes.
You got the restraining order and everything?
I didn't go through with it. She kind of left me alone, and I finally got approved for my refi, so I'm good to go there.
Oh, she's just short all around.
Yeah.
It feels pretty good, huh? I mean, I know you don't,
It'll feel better when I actually sign the papers saying that it's a done deal, which hasn't happened yet.
I don't know if you get the satisfaction of like sticking it to people who like, kind of like
I do.
you. I do too.
I do, but I don't seek it. I let it happen. Like for me, it's karma. So when the karma comes back to you, I'll be like, oh well.
It's like a free, just like appetizers,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh, I didn't expect that, but it's great.
Yeah. Exactly. So.
You got to wear them too, huh?
Yeah. I just got them back in March.
I had to get like a night guard because they said I've been grinding my teeth down like in my sleep.
I have that too, but I never wear it.
Really?
Yeah, I've had it for years, but I can never remember to put it in, but I grind my teeth every night.
Yeah, I got. She said I'm grinding so hard that they were starting to get loose. Like keep that
Yeah,
thing in your bed and put that thing in your mouth. So, all right.
and
we
it's
got
gonna
it.
cause your gum line to recede too, so you better be careful with that.
What's that? The
Grinding up
grinding?
teeth, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
gonna
need my.
jack your jaw up altogether. Yeah, you don't want to be no old man with no teeth
No, it's not a good look.
at all, at all.
You know, it's funny. One of the things that Chucky told me that stuck with me for my whole life. He looked at me one day. He said, "My mother always told me that your teeth are the first to go," and it was shocking to me. I was like, "Teeth? Like they just stick around? Like what are you talking about?" But yeah, you see it. Like you lose your teeth. That's the first sign of aging when you start like losing or like deteriorating teeth. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
crazy. So how this works? I go. We'll just ask these few questions. We'll sit here and chit chat for a minute because I just had to get the preliminary information. And we're gonna get kind of talked about your story, get you a little background, and then we'll kind of go into some questions.
All
So
right,
all this is really. Go ahead.
are you gonna let me know when you hit record so I can
Oh, it's
know
already
when?
recording. So we're just gonna
Oh,
edit
okay.
it from here. This is just kind of like our green room chat. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
No
Okay,
snacks or
perfect.
refreshments though, unfortunately.
Okay,
We ain't that busy yet, right?
I'm ready
Okay,
for
so
you.
when I do this, that means I'm gonna get ready. That's kind of me getting into my zone, my little interviewer character, and then we'll just kind of take it from there. You ready?
Okay. Yep,
All
I'm
right,
ready.
do it. All right. Good morning, Cherry Blossom family. We're back with another episode of Friday with Friends today. And as you know, we always talk about either people who are related to the hemp business or related to us or are in business or somewhere that has some value to bring to business people or independent operators, what have you. So we are talking to Denise Clark today. She is a human resources manager for one of the DMV area hospital systems. We're going to keep that system remain. We're not going to name that system, but we're going to let her talk to us today about HR. And really, we think of HR as something that only applies to bigger companies, but small businesses, definitely, we all have HR. There may not be a department or someone who's in charge. It says this is the person who's definitely in charge of the HR section of our business. Usually it's just one of the owner operators, but all of these things seem to kind of the issues, the human resources issues. If you hire people, you have human resources issues. And we're going to talk about some of those things today. But first, we're going to let Denise introduce herself, say hello, and tell us about yourself. Tell us your story.
Hi, I'm Denise Clark. I'm a Washingtonian, native Washingtonian. I've lived in the area my entire life. You want to know about my story personally or about my story as it relates to the industry?
As it relates to the industry, like what got you into HR? What brought you in that direction? What keeps you getting up, going to work every day?
Okay. So I've had a long time interest in human resources, long time. And I've always wanted to work in healthcare, but I found that when I was working in healthcare, that the HR field was an extremely difficult field to enter into without the appropriate education. So I got into the healthcare field at a hospital, local hospital system. I decided I would go back to school. I went to school. I got my degree in human resource management. I got a dual degree in communications. I then decided that I would move forward and go ahead and take the next step and go ahead and get a master's degree in business. So I did all that so that I could get my foot in the field of human resources. And once I entered the field of human resources, I worked in the department that managed all of the leave of absences and benefits administration. So that's how I got my feet wet, so to speak. I stayed there for a while, and then I moved into a human resources generalist role, which is a role that you kind of do a little bit of everything in human resources. So I did that for a set group within that specific hospital system. I outgrew that opportunity there at that hospital. So then I moved on to another hospital system in which I became an HR manager, which is what I do today. So today I am the point person at my hospital because our HR department was moved off site. So I'm the point person physically within the hospital where people can go to, whether it's executive leadership or management or staff, and they can come in, whatever their questions may be, I will try to answer those questions. Or if I don't have the answers to those questions, I will point them in the appropriate direction and the person that they need to speak with to get those questions answered. So it's kind of what I do now. It's a generalist role, but it's in a leadership position.
So is this something that's sort of happening within hospitals right now, that they're moving their HR offsite, and then like you're sort of like this coordinator liaison between the actual employees and the HR department?
So what's happening in the HR world now is that they're centralizing HR systems. So essentially, when you have a hospital system, I'm gonna say a hospital system, for example, all of the HR is centralized. The hospital system that I work for has hospitals across the country.
Okay. Okay.
Part of our HR department is centralized in a whole nother state. And they manage aspects of our HR service lines through that the corporate organization. So they are offsite. They are becoming, so people can't access them. Like there aren't people right then and there.
Okay.
To touch and feel.
So in a way, like this is kind of specialization, whereas before we would sort of have this in-house thing, and you would just start kind of figuring the stuff out as your group of people.
It's more of what we call like a shared services type of a model, because everybody within that system will go to the one benefits department, for example.
Okay.
And there's no longer that in-person benefits department. There's a whole system organization department. So everybody's sharing the same benefits group versus me being the benefits person within my particular institution.
Okay. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's cool in the sense that now this thing is all systemized. Like no matter where you are, if you got moved to another state, you would know exactly what's going on. No matter
Correct.
where you are in the company, they can just plug you right on in.
Correct.
Excellent. That's pretty cool. Wow. That's amazing, honestly. So for those of us who don't know or maybe been misinformed, what are the roles that human resource departments truly handle for an organization? Like sometimes, and I say this because when I was an employee, I thought human resources was about taking care of my needs in a sense. Like they were a resource for me, but in reality, the employees are the resource. You know what I mean?
So it depends on the need, right? So the resource for an organization is going to be its employees.
Right.
But the resource for those employees within that organization could be human resources. So, for example,
like cyclical in a sense.
You asked what types of things HR does. Mm-hmm. So it consists of many different silos. So you have the benefits aspect of HR, you have the organizational development aspect of human resources, which is just learning. You have the employee relations aspect of HR, recruitment, of course. What else? Benefits, recruitment. There's data analysts. There's all kinds of work to be done within the human resources field.
You're giving people a whole new appreciation for what happened there. Mm-hmm. You know, because I think we sort of know this, but you don't really think about how many things that are crucial to the organization that go through, that portal.
Right. There's somebody who There's somebody who manages compensation. There's many different aspects. There's global HR, which means you're working internationally. There's all kinds of HR fields.
So as we kind of come into the new world, and this is not, tagging any particular group of people or age group, but we are seeing now millennials are taking a bigger place in the workplace, right? And even us, it's like Gen Xers. We in the last 15 years have gotten really attached to our telephones. And I know that for younger generations, it's more of a lifestyle for them, and not just a tool. How are you seeing this impacting the workplace in today's world as opposed to what that was maybe 10 or 15 years ago?
Well, today I would say everybody has a smartphone. So we try to capitalize on the modes of communication with all the employees. So if getting a message to an employee is via their smartphone, then that's the methodology that we would like to use. You're right, there is generational gaps there, differences between Gen Xers, baby boomers, differences between the millennials, this new group, and everybody has their own favorite means of communicating, right? Some like paper, some
Yes,
like
yes.
digital, some like smartphones, some people like computers. It all depends. But the key is to capture the attention of the user and to make sure that they get the message that you're trying to portray. So we do utilize messaging through smartphones. We do not expect, but we would like people to use certain apps that are at their fingertips to make their work life that much easier.
And so it is, as we all get more attached to these, is it becoming like I hear from other like leaders and managers that everyone's too attached to the phone, to the social media. It is taking away from productivity. Are you seeing that in your space? Or maybe in the hospital, so there's really not enough time or opportunity for those things?
No, I don't believe it's affecting productivity at all. It's just another means of communicating with people.
Okay. Because like we do talk to a lot of business owners, and what's a lot of them are taking the approach of, well, when you get here, you cannot use your phone. But it seems like now you're sort of just taking advantage of the fact they have it and embracing it and using it to your own advantage.
Right. And we have to, because I mean, for us to say you can't use your phone and knowing that we are sending out messaging in which we expect you to use an app is just contradictory. So why would we tell you not to use the phone when we are asking you to utilize an app that we've provided to you?
A good approach.
Even there are healthcare portals, that you can go into to manage your own healthcare. So yes, we do. The world is expecting you to use a smartphone or to use some sort of smart communication.
Well, as for the next question, so on an average day, a hospital sees like a range of emotions. And that goes from joy and celebration, where people are bringing their people into the world or what have you, or successful surgeries, and sometimes that's sorrow and tragedy. How like insulated or uninsulated are you from some of those day-to-days, you being actually at the hospital?
Are you speaking in reference to the
Like
visitors and
people and the
patients, or
patients and
just
patients?
the
Yes.
employees? So
Visitors, patients, in particular.
in human resources, we're kind of removed from the direct patient care. Mm-hmm. However, our audience is mostly the staff. So as it relates to their day-to-day working environments, those are the emotions and those are the I don't know what you call it. That's who we care about. That's our focus. So we focus on the management of your interactions with your colleagues or with your leadership and how those relationships are going.
I bet that's been quite the challenge in the last year, considering the
stress
hospitals have been taking on.
Yep.
There are like doctors and nurses are coming at you or saying like, hey, like I may need some more, I don't know, emotional or mental support here or what have you, or we need more people. We don't have enough nurses or staff for these particular spikes in patients. Those are the things that are
all of that. We've experienced all of that in the past year when COVID hit. So we experienced an influx of patients. We experienced a struggle with staffing. We did move to a more work from home model. So now you have employees who are working from home who are now isolated from their colleagues that they've been working with day to day. So we have an employee assistance program that we offer. So we just make sure that managers are keeping in touch with their staff and making sure that everybody is trying to remain as stress-free as possible. Not always possible, but as much as they can be, and are managing their families and work-life balance during this whole pandemic, because now the people are working from home, children are home. Mm-hmm. Children aren't going to school. So now you have children at home with the parents while they're trying to work. which is another challenge in and of itself.
Yeah.
It caused some financial strain for some folks because we had to, send some people on furloughs, take them off of work for a period of time because of the cost savings that presented. So there's been lots of challenges during COVID.
We're really in a transitional period right now. Huh?
Yes, yes, and we're hoping that this will lift. But what it did bring to light with the working from home aspect is that we did see in healthcare that it is possible to be able to work in healthcare and work from home. Now, while direct patient caregivers, of course, can't work from home because their job is to provide patient care, we did find that many of our administrative roles were able to work from home and easily balance working maybe 1 or 2 days in the office, but also working from home.
That's incredible. I think a lot of organizations are that was a big wake up call,
Right,
and
right.
Is it actually saving money them working from home? When no one seems to know, like, is this saving companies money or is this like costing companies more money?
In my opinion, I would say yes, because I'm going to use an example. For an example, we have an off-site office that a lot of our administrative staff would use. And since those individuals are working from home, that office space, we don't necessarily need to use it anymore. So that could lend a cost savings there if we offloaded that particular building because there's nobody working in it per se.
And all the things that come with the utilities and furnishings and all that. It's a huge savings.
Correct. Yeah. Correct.
Excellent. Well, on a more personal note, you and I have known each other for a long time. And, just for those who don't know, she has been one of the closest people to me in my lifetime, honestly. As we get older, obviously, we can't stay as close. Everybody's doing their own thing, which kind of leads me to this question. So I've seen you go through, this, where we're talking about you going through school. A lot of this stuff was happening in very busy years of your life where you had children, we're balancing relationships, and a lot of that is going on while you're still working, How did you maintain your focus and determination during those times? And how have those experiences helped you in your challenges today? And has it helped you balance all these things that kind of you seem to be responsible for?
So family was key. It wasn't always easy. Like you said, we've known each other forever since we were teenagers. I'm the mother of 3. And so being the mother of 3, working full time and attending school full time, which I did, was a challenge. And I wouldn't have been able to do any of that if I didn't have the support of my family and friends. That said, my internal determination is what kept me motivated, making sure that I could keep food on the table and a roof over the heads of my children was a motivator for me. And I'm the type of person that was determined not to let somebody tell me, oh, you can't do it, or you can't have this job because of X, Y, and Z. I didn't want to hear that. So I didn't want to hear any excuses as to why I can't, because I can do anything that I set my mind to do. So I made it a point to go to school, to stay focused, to keep my GPA up, and make sure that I maintain my full-time employment because I had to have an income.
That's right.
So that was just my internal motivating factor.
I think we're going to see one day, like, as your children get older, just how much they absorb these things. They take in those lessons. They're watching you. They're seeing like, oh wow, these challenges are coming to her. She keeps batting them out. She keeps batting them away. You know what I mean? So moving. And I think
failure is not an option.
It's not an option, and there's no higher motivation than having other people to feed.
Right.
That's been an astounding success. I've never said this as much, but I've kind of, we've been doing our things and walking our paths, look at you from a distance, like, wow, she's really doing it. She's really doing it. And I think that it's motivating. It's motivating to some of the people in our audience who are like, oh, well, people who are thinking about starting a business or thinking about, maybe I should go to school and advance myself, within my chosen career path. Yeah, do that. You know what I mean? Don't accept complacency and then don't accept that, well, this is just my fate. It's not your fate. And there will be those people out there Those detractors, they're inevitable. They're there. You can't because they can't, you know?
Right.
They're
Right.
trying to impose their stuff on you.
The biggest thing I could say is to make sure that you get out of your own way. Don't keep making excuses and don't procrastinate.
That's the truth.
You just have to take the first step, and the rest will be easy after that.
That is the truth. We are often our own worst enemies.
We are.
Oh
We
man, we
are.
can talk all day about that.
Yep.
I had to believe that every single person, every single employee has an opinion about how they can improve human resources in the workplace. Now, you already talked about how some of those things are already changing just by external environments, you know? How do you believe HR is changing and evolving in the new world? And what would be your suggestions as an HR manager, excuse me, for like small businesses to improve their own in-house HR? What things they can do, that, you know, to kind of tighten up, or maybe things that people may not be, you know, not say observant of, maybe observant of is the right word, you know, not conscious of it, maybe not always observant of.
So I would say the virtual world is new. So managing human resources in a virtual world is going to be a new experience for us going forward.
Yeah.
Some things are going to have to take place in person and in place, as long as you have an organization of employees who work in a building together amongst each other. There are just going to be things that you have to handle in person and on site. But moving to a virtual world in light of social media, I think is going to be a big change for HR. The fact that HR services now typically can be combined and put into a shared service model, into a whole nother state, makes it so that you don't have to have that on-site personnel there to help manage those things. People like to talk to people face to face, especially when it relates to HR issues.
Mm-hmm.
But now we live in a world where we have to stand 6 feet apart. We have to wear a mask. So everything now is virtual, and that's what we're moving towards.
It is an adjustment. I can imagine having a company of 20 people, and all of a sudden that we're all together every day, and now I have to manage 10 or 15 of those people from wherever they are in the world. And
Right.
that's from a owner manager perspective, that can be pretty frightening, because you're used to doing this in this little pod, if you will, you know?
Right. So you have to find new ways of engaging with staff and maintain those relationships, even though you're not there right next to each other, person to person.
It's very good. And so I'm sitting there thinking about how we're doing that right now. You know, we're progressing to something like that. We've got to manage people from outside of here, and not just us. And it is frightening, because, you know, you want to be able to look left or look right and see what your people are doing, you know,
Right.
and hope that they're staying on task.
Right. Well, I have some suggestions for you. We can never sit down. I got some feedback I can give you.
Okay. All right. We're going to have to talk about that. Okay. I'm going to treat you to lunch on that one.
Right.
So, as far as like what we do here, you know, we're in a hemp cannabis business. All right. And well, I think most of us in this hemp cannabis community would like to see the medical community embrace, you know, the therapeutic benefits of cannabinoids and terpenes. And I think it's happening slowly as more people get informed. There's a lot of misinformation out there. We know that. And we think that would actually help advance their science and their potential for helping people and healing people. We do hear whispers, but not as so much like, the bullhorns that we want to hear. So what are you hearing, if anything?
Yeah, I haven't heard a whole lot
Okay.
about I guess the hemp field, or even medical or medicinal marijuana or CBD as it relates to patient care.
Okay.
Personally, I've not heard a lot because I'm not in the field, actually. That's more of a science field. But what will be interesting is to see the future of recreational use and the use of the legalization of marijuana as it relates to employment.
Yes.
In the work field, specifically in healthcare. So I don't have an answer for you on that one, but it will be an interesting path to follow to see where we land on that one.
It's very interesting because we see that it's funny because once you've been employed and you've been a manager, as have I. So and you see it from kind of both perspectives. I understand why these rules are in place, but when you look at it as compared to, say, alcohol, and we know how destructive alcohol is, internally and externally, it seems to be a higher level of acceptance. And I know that this thing has been demonized and been banned for about 100 years, and we are in a drinking country. So
right.
I think the rest of kind of want to see some sort of parity, as how these things are handled, because you can, and I always say, like, you can drink until midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, get up and go to work, and it's fine.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
But then
Correct.
you lose your job for partaking in something recreational 3 weeks ago, and that seems sort of like the same thing, but on opposite ends of the spectrum.
So there is an imbalance there, and alcohol didn't just happen overnight either.
No
It was
doubt.
an evolution. So I think the same will take place with the marijuana industry, that it's going to be an evolution. And we're just going to have to see how it plays out to get there. Now, some people can't go to work, drink until 2 o'clock in the morning and then get up and go to work and be functional.
True.
You can land yourself in a lot of trouble
True.
by doing these things when the alcohol hasn't left your system. So let's see what the evolution brings. It's definitely going to be a change in how we manage employees who recreationally and or medicinally use any type of marijuana products. So we'll see how that lands, especially in healthcare.
It's really interesting, isn't it? It's a pretty interesting thought,
Yeah.
If no other no other industry that people are kind of like, well, I could kind of understand having those industries in healthcare, because you don't want to think that your doctor is kind of like, he's high as I don't know what, and he's like, cutting you open.
Or my nurse was
Right.
smoking the day, the night before. No, I don't want any of that.
Right. No doubt.
Right.
Well, we're going to let you off the hook today. I think you gave us some very valuable information. It really gave us some good perspective on where HR has come from and where we are going, or where we potentially may be going. So I thank you. I applaud you. I love you. You're my sister. I call you that, so thank you for being there for me my whole life. And, kind of, y'all don't know this, but she was like the voice of reason. She's like, y'all dudes, man, get yourselves together.
Absolutely. Somebody had to keep you all in line. Yeah.
That's right.
Somebody had to keep you in line. But thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my background.
Oh my goodness, yes.
To if your listeners have questions or ideas or anything about anything that we've discussed, I'd be more than happy to entertain the conversation.
No, please do. You can put those comments here. If there's some place that you want people to reach out to you directly, usually we ask people to do a shameless plug, but you're not necessarily selling anything, and I'm sure you don't want everybody calling you directly. So you can put your question in the comments here, and we will make sure they get to Denise. All right. Yes. So thank you everyone for joining us on another Friday. We've had another fabulous guest with tons of valuable and useful information for all types of business owners out there, large to small. Denise, thank you so much, and you have a great weekend. All right.
You too. All right.
I need to go to where you are back there. I need that beach.
Hey,
right? That's right. See you, girl.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.